Making headlines tonight, local health officials still worried about the spread of COVID-19. Barbados gets a new, more secure passport. Dodds Prison welcomes visitors for the first time since 2020. And in sports, Meagan Best is the Canadian Junior Squash Champion.
The CBC NewsNight headlines brought to you by Zapatos Plus by Alexander. We carry the latest in ladies, gents and kids shoes, socks, bags and lots more.
Broadcasting from our studios in the Pine St. Michael, this is CBC NewsNight, starting now.
Good evening and welcome to the CBC NewsNight. I'm Wendy Burke. Local health authorities are tonight issuing a word of caution about the spread of COVID-19 and other respiratory illnesses. Chief Medical Officer Dr. The Most Honourable Kenneth George says the ministry is worried about current positivity rates, especially now we're into the Christmas season.
The information reaching us from the epidemiology unit shows that we still have some challenges with respect to respiratory disease and COVID in Barbados. The positivity rate is just below 20%, and the R effective is above 1. And those two metrics together indicate that we are still having COVID spread in our communities. In addition, what we also know is that the number of persons coming to be tested has fallen off, and therefore the number of persons having COVID within our communities is maybe not a true reflection of what it really is.
Dr. George wants citizens to be cautious at this time, but notes 1+ is the rate of hospitalization is low. There has, however, been one recent death.
Of those few individuals who were hospitalized, they are having milder forms of illness. We unfortunately, within the last 7 days, have had a single death, and we continue to monitor hospitalizations and death as a metrics to determine how severe infections are. So we will continue to work with the population. Many of you know what are the preventative measures. I'm not here to dampen your Christmas in any way, but we are here to let you know that there are still simple things that you can do to prevent sickness and illness.
Meanwhile, Deputy Chief Environmental Health Officer Ronald Chapman has issued a word of caution given the large numbers of tourists expected in the island this season.
Things like mask wearing, which is still probably the best, if not the best method of preventing the spread of respiratory illness. They continue to ensure that your hand hygiene is up to scratch. If you are not able to wash your hands, still use your hand sanitizers. The whole idea of physical distancing and so on, those things are still important.
And amid a surge in respiratory viral illnesses, a specialist emergency physician is providing details on when people should seek emergency care. Dr. Makiba Brooks says most people who get the flu or a similar viral illness can manage their symptoms at home. Common symptoms include fever, chills, muscle pains, headaches, coughing, and sore throat. However, Dr. Brooks, who is a director at Urgent Care, also wants people to be aware of the signs that it's time to seek medical care.
If you're experiencing chest pain, difficulty breathing, shortness of breath, dizziness, confusion, severe muscle pains, or weakness, and in children in particular, you may actually notice signs of dehydration, like babies not passing urine, so you realize that you're not changing nappies as often as you would, or they actually have a visible dry mouth, or they're crying without tears. And those are signs that you should seek medical attention. After a thorough medical examination, the doctor will then determine what your immediate needs are. So it might just be IV fluids, or whether or not your condition requires hospitalization, and they would then take those necessary steps.
Dr. Brooks says the elderly, very young children and people with chronic diseases are the most vulnerable to such illnesses. She also wants people to be mindful of the types of medication they take to treat symptoms. Barbados has released a new passport with improved security features. The announcement from Minister of Home Affairs and Immigration, Wilfred Abrams.
The minister has called the new passport a collector's item of which all Barbadians can be justly proud.
We are transitioning to the new passport effective immediately. So going forward, you're going to have 2 sets of passports until the old passports are renewed out of the system. Now, your old passport will still be valid, but for persons who are applying for passports from today's date, they will get the new passport. The features are going to be explained by somebody else, but it's really exciting. This was a process. We went through a number of designs. The designs, when you see the passports, have Pelican places of interest in Barbados. And these are not just there for aesthetic purposes, but they're also incorporated into the security features. It is a top of the line, first rate, first class, very, very secure passport. And I am pleased that we're putting it into operation from today.
The new document will have more security features.
So the main features of the new design book are images from Barbadian historical and cultural landscapes, as well as upgraded security features in keeping with international standards. The businessman's passport that we used to have has been discontinued. So you will no longer be getting businessmen's passports anymore. And there's a practical reason for that. Once upon a time, everywhere you went, they stamped into your passport. And the business persons, by virtue of traveling more often, their passports got full a lot quicker. So the businessman's passport had additional pages with a thicker passport. But in many places now, they don't necessarily stamp the passport on entry. They definitely don't stamp it on leaving. You swipe the passport, and so the passports actually last a lot longer. So we took the decision to phase out the businessman's passport.
Acting Chief Immigration Officer Margaret Innes says the regular passport will be good for 10 years and provided details of the cost of renewals.
10 days and under, that will be 150 Barbados dollars. If you want to get your passport between 2 to 3 days, that's 225 Barbados dollars. And if you want it back within 24 hours, that would be 300 Barbados dollars.
Minister Abrams also notes the Immigration Department is constantly working on ways to improve its service to the public, and a number of training programs are already in place. Trevor Thorpe, CBC News.
Dodds Prison welcomed its first visitors today after being off limits to them since December 2020. Home Affairs Minister Wilfred Abrams says the decision to reopen the facility has been taken after discussions with prison officials.
We did not make the decision lightly to close down the prison. And we also did not make the decision lightly to reopen the prison. I will say that some were pushing for it to be done next year, but this is Christmas. And inmates have been unable to see their family in person. They've been unable to have interactions with their attorneys in person at the prison since we shut down. While we want to dot all our I's and cross all our T's, there comes a time where you have to draw a line in the sand.
Acting Chief Prison Officer DeCarlo Payne says the COVID-19 protocols are still in place and visitors must wear masks.
On a daily basis, it's anticipated that we're going to be doing 11 groups of visits. All right? Instead of 15 minutes, we're going to extend that period to 30 minutes. So we're going to be reducing the amount of persons who are going to be traversing the institution, which means the visits are going to be a bit longer, but we're going to be reducing the amounts. So that at any one time, we're going to have 15 persons, 15 visitors.
Changes are coming to make the island's road repair depots more efficient. Word of this from Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Transport and Works, Cecilia Leblanc. She was speaking during the launch of 2 books on road safety.
We've been looking at the reorganization of our depots because we've had a situation where we've decentralized a lot of work in relation to road markings and road safety. But the truth of the matter is that it has not been as efficient as I think the public of Barbados deserves. We need teams that are dedicated to doing those road markings more efficiently. We need teams that are going to repair the jersey barriers, that are going to ensure that even the culverts that may be broken, that those are also repaired. So rather than have individual depots fighting for resources, trying to repair and to correct a number of these deficiencies, I think it may be more prudent for us now to look at dedicated teams that are able to address things such as this in terms of road safety.
Ms. Bradshaw has also provided an update on plans to create dedicated zones to address the issue of speeding near schools.
We have discussed embarking on plans to create school zones using signage, road markings, and other devices. This would allow drivers to be aware that they're entering the vicinity of a school. Again, another obvious thing which we would expect that drivers would appreciate. They know that they're driving into a school area, therefore they need to slow down. But it clearly means, based on the statistics, that we are now in a situation where we have to utilize as many mechanisms as possible for bringing awareness to what should be obvious to people as well.
Coming up, a wanted man turns himself into police. That story and more when we return. 17-year-old Tamal Malik Taylor, alias Farmer or Farmer Brown, of number 370 Citrine Road, Kingsland Terrace, Christchurch, is now in police custody. A bulletin for Taylor, who was wanted in connection with serious criminal matters, was issued on Friday. Officers say he presented himself to the Oisins police station and is currently assisting police personnel with their investigations. Jabari Griffith is the winner of the Ministry of Environment's 2022 National Tree Planting Competition. The competition, which was part of the Ministry's 1 million tree drive, ran from the 7th to the 21st of November and was open to Barbadians of all ages. This morning, during the prize-giving ceremony at Walker's Reserve St. Andrew, it was announced that Griffith took the top prize of $15,000 for planting 1,300 trees. Michelle Seal got the second-place prize of $5,000 for her 1,230 trees, and Malicia Wharton caught the $3,000 third prize for planting 720 trees. Griffith says it was no easy feat.
It was tiring. Honestly, morning and night planting trees was, but I'm glad to join with the cleaner green and wire to help make it was beautiful and cleaner.
Meanwhile, Minister of the Environment and National Beautification with responsibility for the blue and green economy, Adrian Ford, has urged the private sector to partner with government in their tree planting mission.
We feel them, and we don't have the financial wherewithal to be able to resuscitate after the tragedies. So although we produce the least, we are mostly affected, or highly affected. And that is the problem that we are faced with as a small country. So what do we have to do? We have to put up our hands and say, this is the way how we are going to rebuild our country. This is the way how we are going to mitigate in a natural way. This is the way how our hands are going to come to the collective blow to restore and rebuild Barbados.
There's concern about a rise in homelessness this season. President of the Barbados Alliance to End Homelessness, Kimar Safri, says the shelter registered in excess of 200 cases for the year. He was a guest on CBC's Morning Barbados.
We focus on homelessness, but we are seeing people calling us from all walks just asking for help. Persons are, especially our elderly, especially those single mothers, they're coming forward for more than ever, seeking that help, because of the situation that they found themselves in. And so every day is called, we're increasing numbers in terms of homelessness around us. Persons are not seeing this, but it's heart-wrenching. Our shelter is getting full. We're seeing the numbers every night. Persons seeking shelter, and people calling ahead and saying, "Hey, I'm going to be homeless in 2 weeks, 3 weeks. What can you do for us?" So the need is real.
The first ever Caribbean International Film Fest in the UK has been deemed a success. The declaration from founder and filmmaker Denise Blackman. Ms. Blackman explains the inaugural event held in September was conceptualized out of a realization that unlike the US and Canada, the UK did not have a dedicated festival for Caribbean films. She says films screened included those from filmmakers in Trinidad, Jamaica and Barbados.
Then we also had some further flung filmmakers. So when we think about the Caribbean, we also have to think about the Dutch Caribbean and French-speaking Caribbean and the Spanish-speaking Caribbean. So we had a range of submissions as well from Dominican Republic and Martinique, Guadeloupe, Curacao. So we had a range of filmmakers who wanted to take part, and they did. And so in the end, we selected 25 of the very, very best. And we had a really good feedback from it. So I'm very pleased about how it went and how both the filmmakers and the audiences really took it on board and embraced this very new festival.
The Barbados Mothers Union is open to males joining the organization. President Joyce Seeley says their involvement as parents is needed, particularly as the group looks to expand its parenting program. She was speaking to CBC News on the sidelines of a symposium at Solidarity House.
Parenting is all about both male and females, and we are open now to males to join the Mothers Union. So we're hoping that both the males and females to get together, and we'll do a program. Hopefully January or February we roll out this parenting training program and have more persons on board with us in the parenting, because this parenting program, any parenting program is needed now more than ever.
Sports time now with Damien Best.
Yeah, thanks so much, Wendy. Good evening to you. Good evening to our viewers and listeners. Well, ace Barbadian squash player Meagan Best is the 2022 Canadian Open PSA squash champion, playing in the women's next gen singles final this evening at Niagara-on-the-Lake, Ontario. Best dispatched her opponent Nikki Shamarina of Iran in 3 straight, 11-4, 11-9, 11-8. Before that, Best advanced to the final round after another outstanding performance in the semis, where she won against Kalika Neminji of Kenya at 7-6 and 2. Here's a look at the highlights from the final with Best in the grey leggings.
Throwing in a post in the back. She's going to have to do a lot of change of direction, a lot of different shots to really throw off the movement of Meagan. Really pushing it through the court. She's really going to start trying to do that consistently to make some inroads. There's a 10. Really good start from Meagan. She played very, very consistent in that game. Here we go. Another chance at championship ball after that let. She's got the great bow. She way take it in. She really stepped up into it. Great fight back from Nikki when she looked down out there 9-1, but a bit of a push back, but that takes a huge toll on the energy levels. You can kind of see it kind of dropped off.
It's your champion from Barbados, Meagan Best.
Congrats to Meagan there. While speaking to CBC Sports afterwards, Best says it's a proud moment in her career.
Winning today was a great accomplishment for me. I'm very happy about it. Being the first kind of PSA tournament I've ever played and being the first Barbadian to ever win a PSA title is obviously a great honor. But yeah, as I've been saying before, I've just been putting in a lot of work, a lot of discipline and dedication to the game. So I'm just happy that step by step, I'm seeing little rewards as I go along my journey. So yeah, this is just one stepping stone to the bigger goal, and yeah, I'm just trying to see how far I can take it.
Let's go outdoors now. Alex Akezia of Kenya and Felix Harumi Arantosa of Martinique won the men's and women's sections respectively at the 2022 Morgan Lewis Run Barbados Marathon yesterday. They repeat as champions of the event, having crossed the finish line first back in 2019 before the COVID-19 pandemic. Now this year, the 39th edition was held on the East Coast for the first time, and a course setup that started and ended at Barclays Park in St. Andrew. It was a rugged experience for some and a chance from from the traditional start to finish on the Bay Street circuit. Now, Kezia was a class act among the 51 entries for the marathon, crossing the line in 2 hours, 34 minutes and 5 seconds. He just finished minutes ahead of women's champion and second overall Felix in 2 hours, 54 minutes, 29 seconds. On Saturday as well, Kezia had claimed the gold in the Sand Dunes 10K race, stopping the clock in 34 minutes and 30 seconds. And he spoke with Sports Max after completing the double.
I was prepared, and all along the past months I've been preparing, and I knew behind my mind that I was coming to do a 10K and full marathon back to back, and so I was well prepared for that.
There's a secret, and you have to tell me the secret, because the Kenyans, they have mastered the marathon.
It's all based on one's goals and aspirations and why people want to run. And I would say the secret to running or perfecting or being a success in any field or any endeavor, one as an individual has to figure it out. Because I would say to some extent is because we come from humble backgrounds.
Right.
And we know where we're coming from. We might not know where we're going.
Joshua Hunt won the half marathon yesterday in 1 hour, 16 minutes, 15.9 seconds.
I just stuck to my race plan. I had home advantage, obviously, so I know the conditions are not the best, so and I had some hills, maybe hills, but I had some hills. So I planned my race according to the hills, knew where I could push, and I saw that the guys ahead of me, they were slowing down. I guess they weren't prepared for what the course would have thrown at them, so I used that to my advantage and just stayed patient. I had to be really patient, and when I caught them, I just kept going.
Well, on the women's side in the half marathon, Cecilia Leblanc of Martinique, that is, was top of the podium in 1 hour, 17 minutes, 33.5 seconds.
It was difficult, but I went with a friend from Martinique who helped me for the 15 first kilometers, and after I know I can't follow him because my legs was painful. I did a lot of half marathon in this month, so but I'm very happy with the time and very happy with the win.
In tonight's business report, M-Money has been bought by the Abed Group. The Barbados-based family company acquired M-Money from Bit Digital Inc. earlier this month. M-Money is a digital wallet solution launched in 2017 to pioneer digital payments between consumers, merchants and the government. It was developed in Barbados by Bit Digital, which in 2020 moved its headquarters to the U.S. to expand its vision of digitizing more national currencies. As part of the acquisition, M-Money's operations and product will return to Barbados. According to the Abed Group's post-acquisition measures pertaining to M-Money, they will be completed during the coming weeks.
M-Money was created in Barbados for Barbadians, and bringing M-Money home aligns with our commitment at the Abed Group to support Barbadian solutions that meet the needs of small island developing states. We plan to provide every Bajan with an M-Money wallet to start testing new initiatives like nationwide financial distributions, effectively setting the stage for Barbados to become the world's most advanced and democratized digital finance environment.
The creation and handiwork of a cross-section of local entrepreneurs were in sharp focus at the Cloth Pop-Up Expo at the Lloyd Erskine Sandiford Centre on Saturday. Coordinator Khadija Miller told the Business Report it was the perfect setting after the industry had been at a standstill due to the pandemic.
What we are trying to do here is get people ready for the holiday season. So what we find businesses, what the vendors and the businesses experience is that they get to meet new people here. And even if people don't shop here with them, they become clients for the Christmas season and the holiday season. So our next event will be in June 2023. So until then, we just want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas until June 2023.
General Manager of the Barbados Trust Fund Limited, Jerry Amos, said the initiative augurs well for the future.
Most of the folks that you see here today came out of that
that by the FEST program, and they are just about ready to move over to the Virgin program. We saw the opportunity to partner with Khadija and Clough because the opportunity then for us to partner with the private sector for events such as this. So we would like to continue to partner not only with our partner Sport Barbados, but with other private sector agencies to pull off events such as this.
We've come to the end of our news. Thanks for viewing. On behalf of the entire team, good night.
Thanks for visiting us. To get more stories like this one, like and subscribe to our YouTube channel.